Oh, didn't see you there. Well, today we're talking about is sugar bad for you? The answer may shock you.
This is a Keith Mejia production.
In order for us to answer that question, we gotta ask ourselves, what is sugar? I'm so happy you asked because I got the answer. Sugar is when you take a glucose molecule, combine it with a fructose molecule, and it will make sucrose. Sucrose is a type of simple carbohydrate, and it's not a complex carbohydrate. The difference between simple and complex carbs are simple carbs are made up of one to two molecules, sugar molecules, that digest quickly and provide short-term energy, while complex carbs have long chains of sugar molecules, taking them longer to digest and provides longer term of energy. Well, now that we know what sugar is, we gotta figure out how it got to be so popular. Let me ask you, how do you think it got to be so popular? Well, let me tell you right now, you're wrong. Because back in 1942, Christopher Columbus collected sugarcane samples in the Canary Isles and brought it to America. Then Christopher Columbus used the sugar to make rum to drink and sell, which became popular, leading him to make more sugar farms in America. And eventually, through the trades, it got to be growing in England, Indiana, places like that all over the world. Then, a couple of hundred years go by, and people started to use sugar in things like coffee, chocolate, and tea to make them taste better and sweeter. And during the late 19th century, people started farming sugar beets, which allowed for a larger scale and production on sugar, lowering the overall price of sugar and allowing it to become very widespread, leading for many companies like Keurig, Coca-Cola, and Honey Bunches of Oats to all use sugar in their own recipes. That's how it got to be so popular. Well, now that we know what sugar is and where it came from and how it got to be so popular, what happens to your body when you eat sugar? Well, I'm glad you asked that question because I got the answer. But before I can talk about it, you must know what happens when you eat something like glucose. You see, when you eat pasta, it goes into your bloodstream slowly because it takes a while for the intestines to break it down, and then from the intestines it travels to the portal vein to enter the liver. But if the liver needs some energy, then it's going to take some of the glucose for itself. And if not, then the glucose just gets passed on to the rest of the body. Now let's talk about sugar. Sugar also goes to the intestines and through the portal vein to the liver. However, because of an enzyme in the sugar, the liver will continue to take in sugar even if it has enough energy, leaving less sugar to get to the rest of the body. Because the liver has an overwhelming amount of sugar, it needs to go somewhere. It needs to be stored. So the liver stores it as fat, which leads fat going into your bloodstream, and that will raise your cholesterol and triglyceride levels. Triglyceride levels, that's a hard word. Which increases the risk of heart problems. Another byproduct of liver fat is a decrease in the insulin's ability to do its job. And when insulin doesn't work as well, it causes more sugar to be turned into fat in the liver, which also sends more fat into the bloodstream. It's a very vicious cycle of more sugar leads to more fat, leads to more sugar, leads to more fat. It's really easy to get caught in. So to answer the question, is sugar really bad for you? Nah. Have you ever wondered, what should I be feeding my pets? Well, I have. So today I'm going to tell you all about the absolute best foods for your pets and what they should eat. Maybe you already know them. Well, too bad. I'm going to tell you anyways.
This is a Keith Mejia production.
Starting off with the goodest boys and the goodest of girls are dogs. You see, dogs are omnivores, which means they eat both meat and vegetables. So knowing that, what should you be feeding your dog? Well, if you want your puppy to go on a homemade diet, then you should be giving them a balanced diet with lean meats like chicken, turkey, beef, or fish, along with some carbs like brown rice or sweet potatoes. Vegetables like carrots, spinach, and green beans will always be good for them. Fats include fish or olive oil in their meals. And supplements that add some vitamins for your dog that your vet recommends. Commercial dog food is also a great choice for your dogs. Dry kibble is a fast and convenient and very cheap alternative to homemade food. However, you should always pick high quality brands like Hill Science Diet. Wet food is also a great option, but a little more pricey. However, it's a really good option if your dog needs extra hydration in their diet. Some big no's that you should never feed your dog are things like chocolate, grapes, onions, cooked bones, things that are super high in fat, and artificial sweeteners. The next pet we're going to be talking about is your feline friend, the kitty cat. Unlike dogs, cats are carnivores, which means they need meat to survive. Knowing that, what should you be feeding your cat? If you want to make your cat a homemade diet, then you should be making them things like cooked chicken, turkey, beef, or fish. They also need some essential fatty acids like fish oil and small amount of cooked egg yolk. An essential amino acid that your cat needs would be taurine and can be implemented by adding some raw meat in your cat's diet. Cats don't need many carbs, but that doesn't make them any less important. So you should be adding some cooked rice and pumpkin in their diet. Commercial cat food is another very good way to feed your cat. Kibble is a convenient and cost-effective, but just make sure that the kibble is high-quality animal proteins as the first listed ingredient. And make sure to avoid brands with too much filler like corn, wheat, and soy in their kibble. A great brand for your cat food is small human-grade fresh cat food. Canned wet food is another food option for your cat and provides extra moisture as well as has more nutrients than kibble. Some stuff that you should never feed your cat are as follows: onion, garlic, grapes, chocolate, artificial sweeteners, raw dough, too much raw fish, and cooked bones. But always feed your cats love and affection. Now that you know what to feed your pets, make sure they eat enough food, drink enough water, get the right amount of exercise they need, and love them to death. We all know everyone wants to be healthier, except how do you get healthier? That's absolutely right, by eating certain types of foods and pumping that straight iron, you know? Of course, I'm going to be focusing on the food part, so let's get started by naming all of them.
This is a Keith Mejia production.
The first food that will give you killer abs is salmon. You see, salmon is a very common fish that you probably heard is pretty good for you. But now, why is it good for you? Well, I'll tell you exactly why. Salmon is very rich in omega-3s, fatty acid, which helps your heart by reducing inflammation, lowering blood pressure, and decreases risk of heart disease. Omega-3s also helps you with your brain function by supporting cognitive function and may reduce risk of neurodivergent diseases like Alzheimer's. Eating salmon on a regular basis also has been associated with reduced symptoms of depression and anxiety. Another reason why eating salmon is very, very awesome is because bears eat them. And bears are sick. We can't just talk about superfoods and not mention a superest food. The banana. Other than just having a very unique shape, they're also very rich in nutrients like potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure, maintain fluid balance, and supports heart health. Vitamin C, which supports the immune system, promotes skin health, and aids in wound healing. Vitamin B6, which is essential for brain development, metabolism, and producing nutrients like serotonin. Magnesium, and that supports muscle and nerve function, as well as bone health. And finally, fiber, which promotes digestive health and helps maintain stable blood sugar levels. Another reason why bananas are super awesome and like the actual superfood is because the Chad Donkey Kong eats them all the time, and he's very big and very strong. They also make your smoothies taste terrible, so there's that. No, I'm gonna look crazy and tell you that beans are pretty freaking cool beans. Like, you don't understand. You see, beans are one of the superfoods because they help you manage your weight by being low in calories and fat. Not to mention they're really high in fiber and protein, which helps you feel a lot fuller, a lot longer. And that just means it's going to reduce the chance of you overeating. But not to mention, right, the real reason why they're superfoods. Beans can just reduce the chance of you getting cancer, like colon cancer, because of beans being high in fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals. They also just lower the chance of your cells being cancerous. So that's why beans are pretty freaking cool beans. And now that you know all these superest of superfoods, it's time for you to spread your wings, open your mouth, and enjoy. Eat your superfoods. When we as people want to get healthier, we always tend to ask ourselves, what should we be eating or how much should we be eating? Never how we should make our food. There are healthier ways to make food than others, after all. So let me tell you some of the worst ways you can cook so you can avoid cooking like that.
This is a Keith Mejia production.
We've all heard at one point or another that deep frying food is terrible for you. But what makes it so bad? When you're deep frying food, the food absorbs so much oil, adding significant more fat and increasing the overall calorie content of the food. Eating too much deep fried food will lead to an overall weight gain. And when you deep fry the food, you have to increase temperature a lot so the oil can cook the food. Cooking food at that temperature destroys vitamins and nutrients in the food that you're originally deep frying. And reusing the same oil excessively can lead to the oil breaking down, risking harmful chemicals which can increase the risk of chronic health issues. Deep frying food is worse than it can just make you gain some weight. So next time you think about frying some food, just don't. Smoking food. Let's talk about it. Smoking food is a good way to keep in flavor. However, it can be harmful for you. When you smoke food, it can lead to polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs for short. PAHs can form in the food when the juices and fats drip down into a heat source, creating smoke that coats your food. And PAHs can increase the risk of cancer and could also affect your eyes, kidneys, and liver. When cooking meats, poultry, or fish, hydrocyclic amines, or HCAS for short, have shown signs to increase cancer. But smoking food isn't just bad because of the harmful compounds you can put into or onto your food. Smoking food is also heavily salted, leading to high sodium levels, and too much sodium can lead to higher blood pressures, heart disease, and stroke. Commercially smoked foods can have nitrates or nitrites to enhance flavor and preservation. These compounds can convert nitrosamine during the smoking process, and at this point you can guess that nitrosamine can cause cancer. You also don't want to eat smoked foods too often either. Eating smoked foods too often can cause inflammation and oxidative stress, which can cause increased risk of diseases like heart disease and cancer. You also don't want smoked foods with wood. You see, wood smoke contains various pollutions, including fine particles and some toxins. Too much exposure to these pollutions can cause some effects that includes minor things like headaches and eye irritation to some more serious things like respiratory, nervous, reproductive, developmental, and immune system damage. So yet again, I tell you, next time you think about smoking your food, just don't do it. It's not worth it. At the end of the day, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life or what to do or what not to do. But live your life how you want to. Life is too short to worry about every little health problem that you read about or watch a video about or just stumble upon. But sometimes you just have to pick your poisons. Eat healthy though. That's gonna help you a lot and make you feel better.